Well, hello you guys and welcome back to my channel. So today we are starting the first video in my new series where we are going to try to master Gel X nails together. Now, I want to say that this is my only third time trying to do Gel X nails. I've done a couple trial runs just in preparation here, but these videos are going to be just for the fun of it. I am not a professional. We are going to be learning together and kind of testing out different methods and seeing how easy or hard it is for a beginner. So if you guys want to start trying to do your own nails, now let's get into this together and see if we can do this. And as a fair warning, you better set aside a lot of time to be able to do your nails, because if you are just starting out like me, it actually takes a really long time. This particular set took me 4 hours with a lunch break in between because it gets pretty in-depth. You'll see as I keep going throughout the video, there's a lot of steps here that we need to cover. So first things first, you can see that I had started to clean my cuticles up, and I'm doing this with a cuticle bit that goes on this drill that I got from Amazon. It's not my favorite drill. You can't see the speed on it. You have to kind of guess. I'm definitely going to be upgrading this particular item. It's one I've had for years and years, so I'm just kind of using it for the moment. But I would definitely recommend investing in a good drill bit. I think it makes a big difference. But we're working with what we got right now, and I mean, this method I kind of like for the cuticles. I am not that experienced working with them, so I'm going to be testing out a couple different methods throughout my videos as I keep going, because I've seen a lot of different ways people clean them up. But I mean, that one was pretty easy, so I would recommend giving it a go. And once we have that all cleaned up with the drill bit, I just went through with some cutters and kind of cleaned up some loose ones that needed to be chopped off. And then we're going in with our clippers and we're cutting down the nails, just so everything looks nice and flat and even, and the grow out looks a little bit cleaner in my opinion. Some people leave it, and that's totally up to you. And then next step, we're going back to the drill bit, but we are going to be adding this sanding bit. I believe this was 180 grit. I will link everything down below in my description box for things that I'm using. I'm going to be actually posting a video of a giant haul that I got for every single supply that you're going to be needing, so that one's going to be coming soon. But yeah, I'm just going through and I'm gently buffing the nail, and I'm putting this on like the lowest speed possible. Again, I don't really know what speed it is because of the drill bit, but I'm putting it on very low speed. It's just buffing the nail so that way it's an easier grip for all of the stuff we're going to be putting on it. Once that's all done, I take a lint-free wipe with a little bit of alcohol in it and just clean off any of the little dusties that are left behind. Very important to have some lint-free wipes on hand. Definitely do not try to use cotton for any of the steps that we're going to be doing. And then now we get to move on a little bit more of the fun part here. We're starting with the actual nails. So I'm just grabbing from my box here. I did get the Apres system, so I'm choosing my specific ones that are going to work for my nails. I ended up pre-setting which nails work for me, and I wrote it down on this little post-it. Makes it so much easier and quicker when you're setting up for a new set of nails. Definitely recommend doing it. Once you got all the tips in your sizes that you need, you're going to go back to your drill bit. And I actually found this cylindrical drill bit that's actually meant for the cuticles to be my favorite for this particular step. You're going to be filing on the underside of the nail. It just kind of creates a etching that is going to make the glue underneath stick a lot better. It's a very tedious step, but it's definitely something you do not want to skip, because it definitely makes a big difference in the longevity of your nails staying put on your nails. So don't want to miss out on that step there. And I'm going to speed through the second hand. I'll just show you guys this left hand nails, and then we'll kind of skip through the rest because it is a little bit of a boring step and you get the gist of it. Now we're moving on to the nail plate preparation step. So I'm going to be using this pH bonder. Again, this is by Apres. I did get their kit, so the next couple of primers are going to be by the same brand. But if you're like me and you don't really know what this is, it's basically a pH balanced bonder that dehydrates the nail, so it removes any of the oils without being too harmful for the nail. And this is just kind of essential for all of the glues to be able to work their magic stuff on the nail plate. Now our second step in the primers here, we're going to be applying a non-acidic gel primer. Again, same brand, but unlike the pH bonder that we used previously, this primer is supposed to create a tacky base on the nail, which is just supposed to allow a better adhesion for when we get to the tips. And again, something we're learning together, apparently there are acidic primers out there, which they say can cause soreness or sensitivity on the nail plate. And this non-acidic version is supposed to apparently not cause any of that. So that's something we're kind of learning together. Step number 3, you're going to need 2 things. Well, actually, you're going to need 3 things, but the first 2 are you're going to need an extend gel and you're going to need a mini UV light for some quick cures. Now, this is something that I'm personally doing. You could go through and apply a thin layer of the extend gel to every single nail and then wait and do a full cure at the end. But I'm kind of going through each nail, applying a thin coat and doing a quick cure of 10 seconds, just so I make sure for my own sanity that I know that it stays in place and it doesn't go everywhere. I think it's just because I'm a beginner that I'm doing that. I might work my way up to just being able to do the full hand and then doing the full cure at the end. But this is how I'm doing it for this particular day. But yeah, I'm doing the quick cure method on each nail for 10 seconds. And then once we get to the full cure, I'm sticking it in the UV LED lamp here for 30 seconds. This is per the recommendation for the Apres nail kit and their particular extend gel. Oops, I hit my nails on the counter. But I want to make sure that you guys know that for each individual extend gel, it's going to be recommending a different time. So make sure you check out the website for whatever extend gel you're using, so that way you know exactly how long to stick your hand inside of the lamp. Whether it's 30 seconds or 60 seconds, each product is going to differ. So that makes a big difference for how long you cure. And like a complete beginner, I ended up accidentally not recording me applying the left-handed nails here. So I'm just going to be showing you guys the right hand, but I mean, it's the same process, so it doesn't really matter too much. So for this next step, you're going to be needing the same exact products we were just using, and it's going to be the same kind of method. You're going to be applying a layer of this extend gel to the nail directly. We already have it already on our nail plate. We're going to be applying it to the nail tips. So I like to spread a thin layer throughout and then just add a little glob at the end. And then you're going to be using that to kind of push up on the nail, lay it down flat, and then you're going to give it a 10-second cure. And you're going to be doing the same thing for every single nail. And I'll be honest, this is a very tricky little part, so don't be afraid of it. You want to make sure there's no air bubbles. If you see any air bubbles, if you do not have enough glue, go ahead, remove it. Wipe down the nail and then apply a little bit more extend gel. That way you get it perfect. It took me a little bit to realize that you can kind of remove it. You don't have to glue it down really quick. This isn't like working with press-ons where it's a super glue and once it's on, it's on. This stuff is moldable until you put it underneath that UV light. So that's just something I want to kind of explain to all the beginners because I had to learn that the hard way. I put on some crooked, some with bubbles the first time around that I did this. So just something to kind of keep in mind. Once you've got the last tip on and it's gotten its quick cure in, you're going to move back over to your big UV LED light. You're going to press the button for 60 seconds and that is going to let it fully cure so all of your tips are nice and locked on. Once that's done, you don't want to miss this really essential step. I've missed it a couple times and I learned my lesson. So you want to seal the cuticles. There's the option of going around with some acetone around the cuticles and sealing it that way. This is another method in which I'm taking the 180 grit drill bit and going through the edges and I'm sanding around the cuticles up the sides, and this is just going to create a very smooth transition kind of from the nail to the nail tip, and it's just going to make sure that the lifting doesn't happen and no waters get in between. I'm also going through and sanding the actual nail tip itself. This is just going to give a little bit of better adhesion when you're going through with your nail polish. So once that's all nice and sanded, it's going to look something like this. So you're no longer going to see some very clear nails. They're going to look a little bit misty in a way. And then you're going to cut them down to size that you want. And I found this really nifty trick on TikTok. So you're going to take your nail clipper and you're going to have some magnets at the end, and it's going to give you exactly where you need to cut on every single nail. So you can just go through like boom, boom, boom on each nail. Takes no time at all. It's so much quicker than going through and actually trying to figure out where each nail is supposed to be. I did that the first time around and I was like, yeah, this method is taking way too long. So definitely recommend doing it this way because it's so much quicker, saves you a lot of time. You're already spending like 4 hours doing this, so save yourself some time where you can. Then we're going in with this file here. I'm using the 180 grit side. This was one that came in my kit, and you're just gonna kind of flatten out the edges so that way if I cut a little bit wonky, you just flatten it down. Then again, taking a lint-free wipe, a little bit of alcohol, and just wiping away all the dusties. Now this is something I should have put on earlier, but I mean, once you start applying some of the gel primers, it's too sticky, so you don't want to put the gloves on at that stage, but these gloves are just going to help with the repeated process of putting your hands back and forth inside of the UV light. But now we're finally getting into the fun part here. So I ended up taking this Beetles 6-color gel polish kit. It's the Veil of Heaven set. It comes with 6 of them, and these are kind of a base coat set. I'm going in with the shade C392. It's a little bit of a beigey base coat, and for this specific kind of design, I really just wanted a base coat color. So I'm going to be going through and applying a layer and curing it for 60 seconds each, and I'm going to be doing this 3 times. That way I build up this base coat color, and this is just going to be essentially my main color. So that's why I'm building it up 3 separate times, cure in between each time. That way the color is nice and solid. You're definitely going to want to have these layers for this next step I'm going to show you. As soon as you have all 3 layers on both hands fully cured, we're going to go ahead and, well, I'm going to repeat the process to the right hand, but that was such a boring process that I went ahead and skipped the other hand. So once you got it on both hands, we are going to be taking a buffing block and we are going to be smoothing out the nail. This is basically just going to be removing that kind of shine from the nail. This is very essential because we are going to be going in with some chrome. So if you do not want your entire nail to be chrome, you want to remove this because whatever is kind of sticky and tacky and has that kind of shiny look to it, the chrome is actually going to stick to it. So very essential, and this is also why we included those 3 layers, because you're going to be removing quite a bit, so some areas can remove a little bit more polish. So those 3 layers basically just help to ensure that none of the areas end up having no polish underneath. I did a little test run of this before and I didn't do enough layers, and then some areas had no polish on it, so definitely want to make sure you layer up on it. But now finally we get to move into the fun part here. So I'm going to be using the MacArt Rhinestone Glue. This is going to be giving us a 3D design on top of the nail. And I'm going to show my inspiration picture here on the side. I found it on Pinterest, so you're kind of seeing where I'm going with the design here. It's kind of hard to pick up on camera since it is clear, but I'm trying to angle it so that way you guys could hopefully see how I do it. So essentially, I'm just using the applicator that it comes with, applying the design that I want, making sure it's kind of a good buildup of that 3D glue here. And I'm doing a quick cure in between of each nail for at least 10 seconds because this product does self-level. So you don't want to leave it because it'll start to smooth out and then you're going to lose the design. There are a couple different products that you could use in order to create this 3D look. I just happen to land on using the rhinestone glue for this particular kind of design today. I will use different product in other videos, but yeah, I mean, this stuff was cheap too. I think it was like $6.99 on Amazon, so it's a fun one to kind of start and play with. I would keep in mind though that this product will be very tacky once you're done with it, and if there are any areas in which you happen to go over with like a double line, you feel like you want it a little bit thicker in some areas, it looks a little bit thin in order to get that kind of 3D buildup that you want, Be very mindful that if you happen to get any stray lines of product going any other direction that's not exactly where the design is, it is going to stand out when you cure it and then you go in and apply that chrome. I did that in a couple areas and you had a very thin kind of like spiderweb line where chrome ended up picking up. So that's one thing I learned going through this kind of step here. So kind of be a little mindful there. Just be very careful putting the product exactly where you want it. But once you're all done with that, you want to stick your hand inside of the big UV LED light for 60 seconds. Give this a full cure, and then it's going to look something like this. I'm trying to angle it here so you can kind of see the designs a little bit. But now we're going to be moving over to chrome, and this is so fun. I did get this Beetles set. I think it came with 8 different chromes, and honestly, chrome is very, very difficult to work with. If I were just starting out again, I would not choose this particular chrome that you rub into the product. I would go for a chrome polish, and then that way it's a lot easier to work with, because if there are certain areas that you had kind of flyaways of the rhinestone glue, it won't pick up there. If you didn't buff out entirely on the full nail and some areas were a little bit shiny, the chrome wouldn't pick up there. So I would definitely go with the UV LED chrome polish versus actual chrome powder. That's just a recommendation. You know, if you're just starting out with this, you haven't worked with chrome before. I've only worked with it twice and I was feeling a little bit overly confident here. But essentially you just take this kind of like eyeshadow brush, you rub in the chrome, get it nice and saturated, all areas evenly covered. And then you're just going to be going through with a very fluffy brush and you're going to be dusting off all of the excess powder. So that way anything that hasn't been fully rubbed in with that eyeshadow brush is just going to come right off of the nails, and it's just going to be super clean and hopefully stick exactly where you just wanted it. And it was a long road to get here, but we are finally on the last step. So I'm grabbing my Apres Top Coat Gel Polish here, and I'm just going to be going through saturating every nail, going through every nook and cranny of that 3D rhinestone glue that we added, making sure the polish is secure, the chrome is secure, everything's just going to last. So I'm applying that, popping it inside of our UV lamp here for 60 seconds to give it that full cure. And once that's done and all applied, you have finally completed your very first nail set. Oh my gosh, it looks so pretty too. I'm very happy with the way it ended up actually turning out. This was my first time attempting this, and I love the results here. I think the last step that we need to add here is just a little bit of jewelry, make it look very nice. And yeah, I mean, I hope that you guys ended up enjoying this. I do want to do different designs in the future, and we continue on with this kind of journey here, getting to be pro status with this nail technique here. Let me know if there's any designs you guys want me to try out. I'm going to be excited to try out things and see how easy or hard they are going to be for us beginners. So with that being said, I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit the little bell button. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.